So in the last tutorial we just created our simple menu. Let's go back to our master page, and I'm not really happy with this particular logo right now, so I'm going to make it darker just so I can really see it come out. But I'm going to change the colors of this particular menu system as well. In order to do that, you want to select the menu and go over to States. Now you may or may not see it at first, but if you keep on clicking, eventually you will see what you're looking for. And what these are the different colors that are for these particular states. So if I want the normal state to be something like the dark brown, let me do the darker brown. That's going to be the normal state. And now I'm going to click on the rollover, and I want my rollover to be kind of like an orange color. And then the mouse down, I'm not really going to worry too much about them, but maybe we'll just go ahead and make it darker. We'll make it a darker red. And then the active, which is when we're on that particular page, I'm going to go ahead and make it the dark red as well. Or kind of, let me go with it even darker red. Yeah, the bold red. There we go. So what's happening here is these are going to be the different settings for this when we go to it and actually interact with it on the page. And when you refresh, you'll notice all the different pages actually have that now. Now I can go ahead and preview this, and you'll see that I have the ability to click on the different pages, but right now there's no content. So let's go back to the design view and let's add a little bit. Now we're currently on the home page, but you can go back to that at any point. Let's close the preview. I'm going to go back to the home page, just double click on it again just to bring that up. And what we're going to do is insert a quick image. So I can, I guess I have to go up to the page place, or I can drag in an image. I've got some images already kind of ready to go. And once you've loaded an image, you just click and it's placed. Then you can start to drag. Now, one of the things about using images in Muse, and this is so crucial, is to understand it does not work the way that we are used to. And what that means is that if you want to constrain the image, all you do is click and drag, not click and drag with the Shift key. If you hold down the Shift key, then it actually makes it so that you can drag this image in a non-constrained way and change the orientation of that image, which can really mess it up. And this is completely backwards from all of the other Adobe software, and personally I think is a terrible, terrible choice. But what they're doing is making it so that you will constrain things by default. So I'm going to do Control Z so that's not made, and without holding down the Shift key, I'm going to go ahead and drag that out. Now, it is doing what I was hoping that it would do, which is not move the footer down properly, and we'll fix that in a minute. Before we do that, I do want to go ahead and change some about my image by going to the crop tool and then cropping this image somewhat. And now you'll see that I have the ability to move around this image within that crop. This is a really great feature of the design in this software. Now that I've moved that image back up, let's take a look at this footer again. If you go back to the master page, what you want to notice is that this footer is going all the way to that line, and it doesn't seem to work real well there. I'm going to go ahead and zoom in real close and get down to the bottom of the page. And what we want to do is basically take this thing and move it up just a pixel or two so that it is not exactly where that line is, where the footer is matching. And now you'll see that that actually moves underneath the picture properly. I think it's a bug personally that it can't be snapped to the line, but hey, it's Adobe Muse. It's a new workflow for Adobe, and I'm sure it's a bug that they will fix later on. Anyway, back in the footer, it'd be nice if we had some other text elements that are on the page. For example, maybe some text here for the logo. So I'm going to click and drag and do some text here that says logo here. And let's change that text to white so we can actually see it. And I can change the size of that as well. And we can change the font. Now, Comic Sans is always a great one. but I think it's terrible that they're bringing up as in the front of your list. But Lucinda's kind of nice, I guess, so I'll just go ahead and use that. And we'll say the logo would go there. And by the way, we could change our default font for this if we wanted as well. If you're able to actually get into the text itself, we should be able to change that to a different font. Mine wants to go over to the wrong side. When I use this particular text element, it goes over to my right screen, so you can't see it. And it doesn't seem to want to allow me to choose it up here, but it's one of those weird things about using the software. Now at the bottom, I'm going to click and drag and create a copyright. And let's go ahead and also make that Lucinda Sans and white. Now you'll notice that we're using this Lucinda Sans and white, and we're going to use it maybe a lot. So it'd be nice if I maybe set up a style where this was used whenever I wanted it. So in order to do that, what we do is we select the text and go over to the right where it says paragraph styles, or we might need to bring up the paragraph styles in our windows. And I'm going to create a new one. I'm going to call this footer paragraph. Footer P. And it says that it is a paragraph tag, but I'm making sure that it's the footer P, so I know that. Now what we're going to do is go ahead and close that master page, and you'll see now all the other pages has that particular copyright and logo text on it. Now what we're going to do is add some content on the pages. Now to add content, I'm going to go ahead and cheat, and I found Hipster Ipsum, and I'm going to use that to just go ahead and add some text in here, so I can copy some of that text, come into my text frame and go ahead and drag it out and then paste in that text. Once that text is there, we can certainly change our fonts. I'm using Lucinda Sans right now, and let's see what else I want to do. I like adding a little bit of more leading than that's here right now. Take that up to 150. A little bit nicer. And let's go ahead and once that's there, I can go ahead and put some paragraphs in here, possibly. And it is a little bit weird because you're having to do a double return to get a typical paragraph, because this is not going to work exactly like the web, unfortunately. Anyway, now that I've got that style, I will go ahead and make that my typical body or content P, so that'll be my content paragraph. Now it could be that I need a setting for a header. So I'm going to go ahead and select some text, make that larger, give it a different color. And right now that leading is about the same. It's also a little bit, it's scooting out a little bit more than I'd like. I'd like it to be a little bit thinner in here. So let's see, tracking. I'm going to go ahead and bring that tracking in to maybe just -1, a little bit tighter, and I'd like that to be bold. So it's a little bit long for that particular heading, so I'll just drag it out to there. Okay, now with that text, we can create another style. So I'm going to create one here that's called the header, content H1, and I'm going to change that to H1 title. Now I can use that whenever I want. And so by creating these paragraph styles and making it work with names that kind of fit the web, works out really, really well. Now let's go ahead and add some other content, other pages if you want. Just a little bit of blank content like this is great. You can also create boxes or something like that and create text inside these boxes. It would be totally fine if you want to have something there. You can even change the opacity of these boxes, and then you can put text inside of those. Now, in order to do that, you would want to set your fill to 0 so that it will work properly. But it's totally fine for you to have that kind of in here, boxes inside of other boxes, of course. And then, of course, we can apply that style when we want it to be the same throughout.